What's up, everybody? I'm Joe Longo. This is my mom, and this is 30 Days of Inspiration. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hitting play. So, as you know, if you've been watching, I've been creating images and talking with inspiring people that have influenced my life and have been a big part of my life to share with you, that hopefully it will inspire you as well. So I thought it would be great to talk to my mom, not only because she's my mom and she gave me life, but my mom just graduated from Bible school, which I think is amazing because, not that my mom is old, but she's not the youngest. She's not the youngest lady down the street. But we're going to talk about that. But I also want to talk about a long time ago. I never know what is the right way to describe your faith. Actually, I don't like the term born-again Christian because I think it's a little bit, I don't know, out there.
Okay. Well, I was raised a Catholic, was a very strong Catholic, believed everything they taught, always wanted to serve Jesus, always wanted a relationship with Jesus. As a Catholic, I thought the only way you could do that was to become a nun. And so I had planned on entering the convent in January, and I met your father, so I didn't go in the convent. I ended up getting married the next year. And then in then I had 6 children.
Right, I forgot to say that. I'm the youngest of 6.
Yeah.
So we'll put that on the list of inspiring things that you did.
Okay. 2 of my daughters are deaf. That really upset me in my life. I never had answers or a way to survive every day. It was very difficult to realize that their deafness was a gene that was in me, so I took their deafness as my fault. And it was very hard to do this. And then every baby I had after that, which being a Catholic, I'm an only child. I wanted lots of children. That was our plan when we got married. We said we would have as many children as Louis' 2 sisters had added together. And we did. We had 6 children. So in the 80s, things happened to my one daughter, and I went and talked to a priest who said that God wasn't going to judge her because she's deaf. And my reply was, well, then God's not going to judge me either because I have to live with her. And I just needed answers, and there were none. And every time in church that we sang the song, If You Have Ears to Hear, Hear, I cried. So Louis and I went to Marriage Encounter in 1976.
Louis is my dad.
Louis. Joe was born in 75, and we went to Marriage Encounter in 76 on our 15th wedding anniversary.
And what was Marriage Encounter?
Marriage Encounter was in the Catholic Church, and it was just to build your marriage, to put God as a focus. So Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, the subject was, If You Have Ears to Hear, Hear. And we didn't know anything about spiritual stuff. And my husband said that the windows were open, and he just saw me leave. I just left the weekend, and I went back home in my mind, in my spirit, and all I could think of, this is beautiful, and we always got along when we were alone, but when I go home, my daughters are still going to be deaf. And Sunday, the question was, why do you want to live? Which was a very very difficult question when you didn't want to live. And I don't share that story with too many people, or maybe only 2 people in my life. And when we separated to write, God just touched me and gave me a reason to live, and that reason was to share his love. We went home thinking everything was going to be wonderful because our lives changed and I had a reason to live. And then things just got worse in life. And that's when I talked to the priest, and I'm out of here. So it took me, I'd say, from my mother passed away in 81, which I never would have left the Catholic Church if she didn't die, because she would never speak to me again. And so 86 we left permanently and went to a faith church, Word Church, and that's where I've been.
So it was like third grade-ish, and the church was right down the street from our house. And I remember the day like it was yesterday, standing on my steps in my little like church outfit, waiting to walk down the street to go to church. And they came out of the house and they were like, "We're getting in the car today. We're not going to that church." And I was like, this is weird. Because up until that time, and again, I'm just this tiny little guy, it was, you go to church down the street every day and you listen to some dude tell you some story and none of it really makes sense from my third grade mind. So I've always been out there questioning everything. This all ties in. So we got in the car and we went to this church that wasn't in a church. It was in like an old video store.
Yeah.
It was just like in this little building. And as soon as we opened up the doors, I remember seeing drums and a guitar and keyboards and a whole band set up. And I'm like, oh, wow, there's a band. This will be cool. So we went in and the band played and church started. And then church never ended. It just kept going and going and going. And I remember sitting there thinking, I would love a cookie or something. Like, we've been here for hours. Is it ever going to end? And then it finally did end, and we went home and we ate. But God, it was long. So long. So, like, I'll never forget that day. Not that it was a bad thing. It was just like, oh, well, this is a change. But that change, that moment, had such an impact on me, because from growing up and seeing my lovely mom being such a, like, I don't want to say hardcore Catholic, but very Catholic, very Irish Catholic, like, and the Catholic guilt and all of it, and then having the courage to be like, I'm not going there anymore. I'm going to listen to what is inside and go over here and actually search and be a seeker for what she needs. So as I grew, that stayed with me, of the idea of being a seeker, not necessarily following their total belief structure. Don't get me wrong, I love Jesus. We talk about this all the time because we use different words to describe our spiritual experience. But it's really the same thing, just in a different way. So as I got older, my mom would throw things out about the way I think and the way I say things, but really the inspiration that I had to go out and find what resonates with me and with my soul and with my heart came from, which has been a topic of discussion that we've probably had since third grade when they left the Catholic Church, that I don't want to say argument, but my point of view has always been, it's all the same. No matter what you're believing or what you're praying to, it's all the same. And in my yoga tradition, there's this beautiful quote that says, if you can't see God in all, you can't see God at all. And I love that. That's a Yogi Bhajan quote. And I really feel that whatever you need to connect with Spirit, the Lord, you'll find, and it'll put you on that path. And whatever I need will put me on that path. And whatever you need will put you on that path. But you don't have to follow what I do. You don't have to follow what she does. What you need to do is follow that little voice inside and go in that direction, no matter what anybody thinks. Because that's the little voice that we need to be listening to.
Right.
So, but there is one question that kind of popped up and you kind of answered it. So it's either like CNN, Discovery, one of those channels started doing like the decades, so the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. And I was watching the 80s and they were talking about all of the televangelists, because that's when they popped. And I was watching and I started thinking, I was like, I wonder if this is like, did that have anything to do with leaving?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I ever watched any of them, and some of them that our neighbor was really involved with, her aunt and uncle actually lived there with these people, very active. I never liked them. I just had a weird feeling about them. Apparently I was right. But no, I don't think it was just, I was seeking something to give me strength to get through my daily life. And I found when I was pregnant with you, I got pneumonia, and we didn't have a TV upstairs in the bedroom, and I had to stay in bed, and I start reading Psalms, and I just found so much encouragement in Psalms, so much of David crying out things that I was crying out. And I prayed that if the only thing that would, when I ended up in the hospital, I just prayed, if only thing that's wrong with Joe is that he is deaf, I will praise you for the rest of my life. And so that's what I do, because that's how I feel. I was so grateful that there was nothing wrong with you, including the deafness, that I love Jesus. He's my life. He's my everything. And however you look at it, you need that spiritual connection to live this life that is so horrible and heartbreaking in so many areas.
It is, but it's also very beautiful.
If you can look at the beauty and take your eyes off the disasters. And I think that's where, as you grow in your spiritual life, you can see the beauty and not focus on the ugliness. Because there were a point in my life where I wouldn't laugh, because if I laugh today, I'll cry for 3 days. And that's how I felt. I mean, I was a mess. I was a living mess. And life still happens, heartbreaks still come. But I know I'm going to get through it. I got through it before, I'm going to get through it again. And that's where I am.
But it's a practice.
Huh?
It's a practice.
It's a practice. It's a decision to love when people don't deserve to be loved, to forgive when people don't even know they hurt you, and to walk in love and to see the beauty that's all around us, that God created. And whether you believe that or just see it as the beauty, it's still beautiful. And
exactly. Appreciate it that we're get to be alive and walk on this, planet that everyone complains about. And I always mess up this statistic. I think it is 1 in like 400 million of a chance to actually being born. So there's it's 1 in 400 million chances of actually life happening and this happening. So we should be thankful, but we take that for granted. Just be like, oh, well, I'm alive. Not really thinking about what actually had to happen for this life to happen. So, yeah, that's my mom. She's the best. And I am so grateful for everything that you taught me and inspired me to do. It inspired me. I said this to my friend the other day. My mom went out and found her weird, and it inspired me growing up to find my weird. And, there's that saying, it's like, go out and find the other weird people that you connect with. Find your weird, or that other wonderful, saying, your vibe attracts your tribe. And that's what it is. Like, you go out, you start living your life, and you shine as bright as you can, and be a weirdo, and be yourself, and follow what's inside, and know that we're all gonna be okay.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, I didn't go to Oklahoma to go to Rhema. Wasn't in my thoughts at all. But the things that happened here in Pennsylvania that got us to go and move to Oklahoma with your sister Terry and live there and thinking this is where we're going to live till we die, and end up going to Rhema because my son-in-law said, has God been talking to you about going to Rhema? No, if he is, I'm not listening. And then going to the meetings for a week, and an old woman, older than me woman, said, where are you from? Did you come to go to Rhema? No. The next night, the usher said, where are you from? Pennsylvania. Oh, you came to go to Rhema? No, we just moved here. And I went home and I said to my husband, and then I met a woman who I can't remember anyone's names, and I went home and I knew her name and never forgot her name, and we're the best friends at Rhema, at Bible school. And I said, I better look into this. I think I'm supposed to go. And I went, and it was the best 2 years of my life. I would not do it. And then we came home last summer, went back thinking we're going to live there forever. We'll probably never come back to Hazelton. And by the middle of September, it was like, it's time to go home. We need to go home. And my one class, the teacher made a pie, and he said, this was when you were deciding to come here, which I looked at it when we decided just to go to Oklahoma. And then he cut a piece of pie and said something about, you're still happy and excited. But as he went through the pie, comes down to the end of the pie, and he says, it's time to leave. And I went home and I said to your dad, this is confirmation we're to go home. And so here we are, back in Pennsylvania, where we're supposed to be. And just doing it one day at a time and seeing what the next step is and what's going to happen next and what God's going to do with me. Went to church last Sunday and truly it was amazing. It was just like being home. I really am home.
You are home. This is home. This is home. So thank you for talking with me. Thank you for talking to all of them. So now me and my mom are going to go take some graduation portraits to celebrate her graduation. Thank you for watching. And again, I never know how to end this. So peace out, and I will see you tomorrow.